Hi everyone, this is Adammichlaw with Wanderings. Today's video is called Have Some Self-Respect. Self-respect is the key to maintenance of self-health, love, and good relationships with others. The more we're ground down by our lack of self-respect, the more we will find our relationships lose meaning, fall apart, and we will loathe ourselves even. So how do we build self-respect, particularly if a person grew up in an environment that didn't have a lot of respect for others? Because the level of self-respect that we have is going to be contingent on the amount of respect and borders that we got from others growing up. So the good news is that we can change that by having self-respect now. If we maintain our borders and become the people that we want to be now, the relationships we already have and the ones we have in the future will also change drastically. You can't change the other party in a relationship, but you can change yourself, and therefore the dynamic and the relationship will change based on your own self-work. So having self-respect requires a few things, and the ones we're talking about today are borders and mirroring. Borders is simple. What I allow in my life and what I don't allow in my life. You don't have to answer every phone call, particularly in nowadays where it's so easy with social media to call and message, and you have to learn to maintain your energy and have self-respect and leave your self-love for yourself, and you don't have to constantly wear yourself down. Some people, their whole lives are in enmeshed relationships, vicarious relationships where their sense of self-being, of worth, is tied to somebody else. We have to maintain our own mental point of origin, where we see ourselves, our own mental health, and our own sense of worth as the key thing for ourselves before anybody else. It's like an airplane when they say, in case of an emergency and the mask fall from the ceiling, first help yourself and then help the child next to you. Exactly. A way to do this, Corey Wayne says, is by mirroring. Mirroring means like this. He gives the example of a tennis match. Somebody hits the ball to you, you hit it back. You don't hit the ball twice, the ball's already on the other side. You have to wait till the ball goes back. That's what all relationships are. You have to have a level of self-respect because self-respect builds love. And if you call, plead, chase, enmesh yourself, be codependent on somebody else, your respect for yourself will diminish and the respect in their eyes will diminish. And all love comes from respect. So if they take 3 days to get back to you, you take 2 or 3 days to get back. If they're not able to express themselves through love, through cordial relationships, then you also have to maintain your dignity in the same regard. You don't give a level of physical intimacy to somebody who's not able to also maintain that level of emotional intimacy that you require at that level. Otherwise, your self-respect will go down, and the respect in the other person's eyes will as well. So a few examples of that. I have a friend who is living in a country which he loves very much, and it took him a long time to get married. He finally found a woman, a divorced woman with a bunch of children, and he got married in his late 40s. He had a lot of problems with borders and relationships up to this point, which again is related to his childhood traumas. Finally, when they got married and they moved to this country and they were very happy. He very much wanted a child of his own. He was a little older. The woman herself is 40 years old. And she had children, so she didn't want so much. But the most important things for him were to live in this country that he loved. That was where his life was, and she had agreed to that. And he very much wanted a child of his own, as most people want. So she basically at one point said, if you want to stay married to me, you must move back to the United States. And he didn't want to. He didn't want to. But he agreed to. Why? Because she said, I won't be married to you unless you move to the United States with me. So I said to him when I was talking to him about this, well, what did you get out of this bargain? He says, well, I get to stay married. You get to stay married. That sounds pretty codependent to me. If a woman threatens you, if anyone threatens you, a man threatens you to divorce you, you say, okay, if that's what you want. You maintain your self-respect. And if she wants to move to another country, well, what can she offer you? It has to be a give or take. Now, a lot of people say relationships are all giving. That's true in certain respects. But in other respects, if we can't give so much that our borders are down and we don't get our own needs fulfilled. So I said to him, you should say, I will be glad to move that country with you if you are willing to try to have a child with me. We both are getting what we want. I'm giving in on something, I'm getting something. You're giving in on something, I'm getting something. But he didn't see it like that. He thinks I will maintain my marriage if I move to this other country. Problem is, each time he does this, his self-respect and her respect for him diminishes. And in the end, he's going to be a very small person in his eyes and in her eyes. We must negotiate things in life. You only get what you negotiate, not what you deserve. So that's an example. A second example I'd like to give is a woman's exchange of emotional intimacy for physical intimacy. I was working with a lady recently, and she had told me that she got into a physical relationship with a man that she hoped to have more with. She felt that if she gave him all the physicality, even though she wanted more, she wanted an actual relationship with him, emotional relationship with him, eventually he would come around. And I'm sure all you are thinking right now that didn't happen, and that's exactly the truth. It didn't happen because there was no respect there. There's a negotiation that has to happen there. A woman wants emotional intimacy, a man wants physical intimacy. In order for that relationship to work, they both have to give and take in that regard. And if a person is just giving, in the end, they won't respect themselves, and the other person won't respect them, and it will either go one way, either to a breakup of relationship or to a relationship that gets very degrading. And the person will walk away with a very low self-esteem. And this is what happens to people. When people get in codependent relationships and enmeshed relationships, it's because they were used to not getting their needs met in previous relationships. And the good news is that we can, right now, take stock of that and have self-respect, have borders, have mirroring, making yourself your own mental point of origin, look at your needs first. The mask falls from the roof, from the airplane. You fulfill your own needs first, and then you help the one next to you. Once we have that self-respect, others will respect us, because love only comes from respect, not from pity, not from codependency, and not from enmeshment. This is Adammichlaw with Wanderings. If you're interested in booking an hour time with me, find me at Wanderings with Adammichlaw, or make a comment below. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.